This is Land of Havilah, Isaiah 54. It's 17 verses, all on the theme that Yahweh will bless his servants gloriously in the end. He'll reverse all misfortunes. Verse 1. Sing, barren, you who didn't give birth. Break out into singing and cry aloud, you who didn't travail with child. For more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, says Yahweh. Enlarge the place of your tent, and let them stretch out the curtains of your habitations. Don't spare. Lengthen your cords and strengthen your stakes, for you'll spread out on the right hand and on the left, and your offspring will possess the nations and settle in desolate cities. Don't be afraid, for you'll not be ashamed. Don't be confounded, for you'll not be disappointed. For you'll forget the shame of your youth, and the reproach of your widowhood you shall remember no more. For your Maker is your husband, Yahweh of armies is his name. The Holy One of Israel is your Redeemer. He'll be called the God of the whole earth. Comment in verses 1 to 5, there are two examples of life's bitter disappointments. One is infertility. The infertile woman or barren woman should sing and rejoice, because in the age to come she'll have more children than she can imagine. She should go ahead and make her tent bigger, but her tent won't be adequate. She'll have so many children they'll repopulate abandoned cities and possess nations. Then there's the next example of bitter disappointment, which is widowhood early in life. The young widow who is never able to remarry should rejoice, because in the age to come, Yahweh will be her husband. She'll forget she was ever a widow. When will these promises come to pass? In verse 4, it'll come to pass in an age when Yahweh, quote, will be called the God of the whole earth, end quote, which we could interpret as the millennium or eternity. These are just two examples. The encouragement applies to all Yahweh's servants who've had any bitter disappointment. There will be complete satisfaction. Everything will be made right. Now another example of bitter disappointment, rejection by a husband, verse 6. For Yahweh has called you as a wife forsaken and grieved in spirit, even a wife of youth when she is cast off, says your God. For a small moment I have forsaken you, but I'll gather you with great mercies. In overflowing wrath I hid my face from you for a moment, but with everlasting loving kindness I'll have mercy on you, says Yahweh your Redeemer. Comment in verses 6 to 8, Yahweh is the husband. He rejected his wife, which is speaking of his people, because of his wrath in verse 8, but his wrath will only be for a moment. His kindness and mercy are everlasting in verse 8. He's Yahweh our Redeemer. He sent us away, but he's called us back to him in verse 6. Coming up after the flood of Noah, God swore he wouldn't flood the earth anymore. Likewise, in the coming age, he'll never again be angry with us. He'll not hide his face from us or let us experience any type of disappointment. Verse 9. For this is like the waters of Noah to me. For as I've sworn that the waters of Noah will no more go over the earth, so I've sworn that I'll not be angry with you nor rebuke you. For the mountains may depart and the hills may be removed, but my loving kindness will not depart from you, and my covenant of peace will not be removed, says Yahweh who has mercy on you. You afflicted, tossed with storms, and not comforted, behold, I'll set your stones in beautiful colors, and lay your foundations with sapphires. I'll make your pinnacles of rubies, your gates of sparkling jewels, and all your walls of precious stones. All your children will be taught by Yahweh, and your children's peace will be great. In righteousness you'll be established. You'll be far from oppression, for you'll not be afraid, and far from terror, for it shall not come near you. Comment in verse 12, I'll make your pinnacles of rubies, gates of sparkling jewels, and walls of precious stones. That's not just speaking of the cities and houses of the coming age, but meaning every facet of life will be stunningly glorious. In verse 13, quote, all your children will be taught by Yahweh, and your children's peace will be great, end quote. That's particularly in reference to the coming age, but let it be true in the present age for any parent or grandparent who has the faith to pray it for their children. Coming up, they may gather together, which means enemies might gather together to attack Yahweh's servants, but his servants will be untouchable. Verse 15, behold, they may gather together, but not by me. Whoever gathers together against you will fall because of you. Behold, I've created the blacksmith who fans the coals into flame and forges a weapon for his work, and I've created the destroyer to destroy. No weapon that is formed against you will prevail, and you'll condemn every tongue that rises against you in judgment. This is the heritage of Yahweh's servants, and their righteousness is of me, says Yahweh. Comment in verses 15 to 17, in that age our enemies may gather together, but not by Yahweh. He won't let them succeed. And in verses 16 and 17, we'll have perfect ability to defeat our enemies, defeat their weapons, and counter their verbal attacks. In verses 11 and 17, there's the confirmation that Yahweh is not just speaking to infertile women, widows, and divorcees. He's speaking to all his servants who are afflicted, tossed with storms, and not comforted. All these reversals of fortune from bad to good are, quote, the heritage of Yahweh's servants, end quote. In verse 17, no weapon that is formed against you will prevail, end quote. Again, the context of it is that it applies to the coming age, but let it be true in the present for anyone who has the faith to pray it. Isaiah 55 is next.